G'day and welcome everybody to another King of the Hill. This is our second take because I forgot to talk at the beginning of our first one. Jumping into this, we have 53 peasants versus 7 kings on one of my all-time favorite maps, Throne, with the dry sea and the lava. This customization allows us to easily enforce those lovely rules that we go over at the beginning of every single one of these casts. We have a 10-minute no rush. We have ourselves a additional bit of eco for those kings, that plus 65%. Some small tweaks that remove some of the super early and very oppressive artillery for those kings, and air is switched off. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's check out our co-op corners, let's check out our kings, and let's see exactly how this one runs. Joining me in the casting booth is Twig, and participating in this match is myself as a king and Twig as a peasant, so we're going to be facing off against one another. I can tell you already, this one definitely didn't make us closer friends.
We are spawning pretty close. You're there in a defensive position, and I'm just over here doing a bit of commie with Classic, giving everything up there to that very experienced player at 50 something OS. We've also got Potato, Mazza, Anygoth Baddies, Jellio, all very, very familiar with king positions. We've also got Mana Peter and Fart Wizard. Fun names. Up there.
One of the best things about playing online multiplayer games is the freedom to pick your own name. The day we lose that will be a very, very sad day indeed.
There are a lot of players down this corner here. We got
oh my god.
Grumpiness.
T2 Lab is coming down sub 2 minutes. I don't think it's a record. I know we've had it completed sub 2 minutes, but that was on Raptor Crater. This is on Throne, and Throne's an entire different ball game.
Yeah, I recognise almost every player down here. Kikado, Grumpiness, part of the Grump clan. Shout out to Grumpiness, in there with us most weeks. He's also got his own Twitch, if you want to go check that out. Very entertaining player, very high skill, is fantastic at those backline ecos and making really decisive moves to win games. We'll check back in there, but T2 already up at 2 minutes 30 with a bot out. Wow, yuck.
Yeah, this is gonna be a rough one. And whilst Anygoth Baddies has some of the best commander control in the game, not experienced in the middle of the map, which means that the T2s are slightly slower coming out of him for the players on the defensive. Still pretty quick, but even with the metal feed, just not quite able to chuck that metal into the build lab quite quickly enough.
With the 60% bonus as well, probably would have put down a couple more wind. Obviously going absolutely fine, but was low a little while ago. You probably don't need this many res bots in this map because there is literally only 3 patches of trees worth bugger all.
What do you mean? You can reach a couple of the trees in the lava.
And you can see that overflowing by 500 energy per second. You just don't need that sort of income from the reclaim. Because
good for me though.
It's good for you, but you can see every player down the bottom right is overflowing, and the whole team. I think you'll see.
Actually, yeah, that's true. You can see by the bars, the whole team is right at the top. None of us are converting enough. None of us are using energy storages to capture that energy.
I usually only go the one in Throne when I'm in that center position, and that's usually enough as well to these players out. Doing the right thing though, tapping one mech's, handing out that constructor, going to build another one. I'm sure they're going to tap again, send that out to someone else, and they'll probably only keep the 4th or 5th one to themselves to start working on the energy.
Something to consider with this middle position, if you consider the 3 ramps in the middle as one player, something which the players on the edge can actually do to really help and prevent and get that T2 lab even earlier. Send some wind across and then send it back afterwards. That'll give the middle player a really nice boost and not tank your own economy, because you are technically waiting for that T2 constructor. So you'll if you all work together and act a little bit like one of these co-op corners. In fact, I'd actually love to have one of the super co-op eco players teach us how to do that in the middle. That'd actually make for a great video. But anyway, setting that up, I reckon you could get crazy, absolutely crazy starts for all of these corners if you played it more like that.
Let's just look down out here. We've got Tank Tom, our other AllReasonNoLogic partner, along with Chronographer, very frequent player in these games, going down into a commie. And these maps have been edited so that we've got the desert down here instead of ocean. It allows for these ecos to come up and online at about the 20-minute mark, going into that T1 until there's just an excess of metal, dropping down a couple T2. You can see it coming down now with this commie eco, and there'll be enough metal around here to get the fusions up, hopefully around the 10-minute mark, if not a little bit earlier.
It's a very hard start in these corners, but these are the players that are going to swing the balance post 20 minutes. Yes, they're going to be behind, but they should also be very, very safe. Unless something goes catastrophically wrong and they need to transition into units, these guys are left to eco entirely right up until the point where their eco really does boom. And then they're going to add that extra bit of pressure to break the kings. So if the kings don't get around the outside, if they don't start breaking the players in the middle, these are a existential threat and a win condition for the peasants, which is why I love these positions. When it was just C, it tended to turn into a just a slow cleanup. There was never that threat to the players because most units couldn't go out there, and there was never the urgency to reinforce the middle because you were out in the ocean. But then once the rest of the peasants fell, there was no real chance for the sea.
Yeah. Just seeing here some restore functions being used because of the craters that the lavas create.
The
of ecos
lava
that
level
go,
is very tight.
You mentioned ecos that go boom. I love you looking into straight into the face of evil, building your first fusion reactor just outside that ramp.
I mean, where else am I gonna put it?
I like
At least I'm not building an APHIS.
If I'm this player here, I like to build my eco just behind this cliff. I've never actually played the position you're in. They probably need to build it there as well.
The closest places that I can realistically build are to the bottom side, which is highly inconvenient, or to the top, which is a long walk, and you're not going to have your build power there. It's just not a good time.
I mean,
I'm setting up build power over on this side, but you have to just, if you don't put the fusion down early enough, you just don't get what you need from it. I choose to put my fusion in the front, acknowledging that it may well go boom, but if it does go boom in that position, I've got much bigger problems to worry about. I'll also potentially eat it later if artillery becomes a problem, but it is not going to be where I put my APHIS. The APHIS are going to live over here.
First fusion's coming down, and second for some of these kings up here. Let's look back around over the base I'm working on with Classic. We've got the advanced geo up, the second fusion going up now. There's a couple minutes left. I reckon we got to get into units soon. And let's look where the real massive threat is. We see our first APHIS is down for the Grump clan in this bottom corner. We would not be surprised if we see some long-range vanguards coming out of this corner just after the 10-minute mark. Maybe just some Razorbacks to get going to clean up any spam if you guys decide to build any. And then just looking out here, we're seeing our first fusion coming up. Yeah, just shy of that 10-minute mark for this little commie corner going down the bottom left. Looking around the other corners as well, you can see the difference of not commieing. Sticking with T1 up here, I mean, it's fine. You get there eventually. It's just a slow scale. And yeah, very, very, very slow T2 build over there on that one. You need to make sure you got enough metal in to come.
If you're not sitting at about plus 20 or plus 30 with a bit in the bank, I wouldn't recommend going into the T2 super quickly. You're better off just investing that into more and more wind, into more and more build power until you can get it all down.
Unless you want to go make a sandwich in the meantime, go for it for sure. And then, yeah, your T2 low will be up at around that 10-minute mark, just in time.
Bit of bad play out of me overflowing some metal right here. I just didn't have the build power. I didn't have the T2 constructors. I should have gone into a T2 lab to get a couple of extra T2 constructors to put these defenses down. A little late on, basically a little late on everything because I'm not used to building back here and shuffling things around. Defenses coming down though. 40 seconds left. There should be enough to hold here. And then I'm going to be working on it scaling. You can see the APHIS coming down now.
Yeah, you're doing a bit better than Peter over here on the right, who has foregone the fusion reactor, just relying on wind.
Have you just looked in the top right commie eco, the Newt clan? 23 recluse getting ready at the 10-minute mark.
Yuck, yeah, that is tough. That's nice that they've got that ready. They've got fusion coming down. They've got the. I like that they did it just after the advanced gear, and an advanced gear is more than enough to do just that. We're also going into spiders up here from memory, though. I don't make the best use out of those. Being handed those by Classic. Let's see how this corner goes. I think that's where we're going to see a lot of the initial action.
With the lava down and the units coming up, all entrances are moderately defended, but it is going to be this top right hand side. It is going to be these spiders that are the things to fear. They have been spotted, thankfully, but it's going to be a hard fought battle as there are less spiders for Jalio than there are for the peasants. Still good defenses right here. I love these walls. I love the beamers. This is a really solid base layout.
The beam is really nicely spread out behind those walls. Like that really makes an effect, a difference. The one disadvantage of the walls is in this area is when these spiders crest on these hills, they're actually at a high enough height that they forego the walls, and things will get over. Little unit getting out here, doing a bit of damage. Nicely done. We're going to see a rush up here. I don't want to miss it.
I know. I keep checking up there, looking on the rest of the map. Mostly neutral at the moment. We've got big volumes of T1 units, but unfortunately without T2 behind them, it's going to be hard to pull that attack off. Looks like the spread's getting pretty wide for these Recluse. They've tried to come around a little bit too far, getting attacked by those bulwarks. They're coming over the ramps now. They've seen the conversion. This is the problem with T1 conversion. It just takes so much space. And we're seeing the T2 walls, while they're taking some of those shots, they are not taking enough of them. The beamers still take plenty of damage. These sorts of defenses require at least some level of pop-ups or units or something along those lines, because even with this incredible looking base, the sheer volume of T2 coming over the wall is a problem. And you can see the D-guns intercepting a lot of the units that are trying to make their way down across the top. A little over half of Jalio's force cooked as it walked along the top half of the map.
Oh, yikes. I even got a couple. That's right. Was that me? No, that one... Got Gypsum over here.
Even with all the Scorpions build power going down, that is not what I want, because the APHIS is up, but all of my conversion is down, so generating a lot of energy, but absolutely no metal. More D-guns on that top side just there. Looks like Pinch Neo managing to take out another large series of those Recluse 5 down in a single D-gun.
Yikes.
Pretty rough to defend up in this spot, especially with the build power somewhat going down, but the conversion is the biggest problem there. So no real pushing out at the top of the map at the moment. And the big fight is down at the bottom, where Orange is facing off against snipers and ticks, which is not an easy thing to deal with, because the snipers deal with the units that can deal with themselves, and the ticks prevent any sort of push into them.
We can see a good attack command onto that Razorback, taking it down really easily. And was that that was a peasant comm that was hiding in the corner there. Nicely picked out, I think, by the Twin Guard and some of the spam. Maz's comm, though, if that goes down, lucky. You almost want to suck it. You almost want to suck a comm at that stage.
There are plenty of units there.
If only those few snipers, the sharpshooters, were a little bit closer, they'd take out the commander quite easily. But nicely defended by Mazza. What have we got coming out of this big coming corner? We've got spam, we've got 4 APHIS up, yuck. Are we going elsewhere? We got still relying just on the T2 there. And then same for us, we've gone into T3 Vanguards off of just the 4 fusions and the advanced geo. And we'll come back to this. I was pretty much fed Vanguards for the next 10 minutes. They came out slowly, but I don't think I lost one all game. I might have lost one or none. We'll check on that. I had fun this one. I just got the micro Vanguards.
Oh, those Vanguards became an absolute menace, and unfortunately for the Kings at the moment, no real ability to push out just yet. The eco in the middle of the map is on 3 APHIS, with a decent amount of conversion, as well as a lot of build power, starting to get ready to make that push out. Potato getting some Vanguards of his own, and the rest of the map mostly just holding right now, trying to do their best to deal with some of the problems that they are facing, particularly the top half of the map. Myself and Jalio just keep getting reset. We've had one lot of build power destroyed, and it's just coming back up now.
Next push out of these recluse and not going to get through as easy here unless this commander goes pop. Are we going to get a D-gun out of it? Bang. Goes down.
That is a big problem for the defenses just there, but it's actually the Vanguard that's being controlled by Twig that's causing a lot of problems as well. Build power down for Jalio. That one Vanguard, there is no defense for it, and there won't be any, because if you target the build power first, not going to get a shield down, which is what's needed, and any sort of response trying to be sent out there currently being taken on by Randy Anon, getting some good D-guns across the cliff just there.
It is a tricky thing with the D-guns. There we go, fusion's
This is a rough position for Jalio. Spending the first 5 minutes of the actual combat without build power means that there is very little that a king can do in this situation. Just that constant pressure, the constant pressure, and now the Vanguards making a big difference over here.
And that's his energy completely annihilated, and Leo just down to a couple decoys, or one decoy left, and a T3 lab that has no build power behind it.
T3 lab converted over to myself. I do have some build power here, though we'll see for just how long. Trying to get some of the Karganeths out to deal with the spiders, but the spiders are up here giving the spotting to those Vanguards. Vanguards are particularly good when you have that vision range. Shield down to try and keep everything alive, though.
Am I going through build power? I think I'm going for... Oh, this one's Kim. Kim got given one of these. Kim, another one of the players. Oh, you got that
big push on
up.
The right-hand side of the map. We have the force from any goth baddies being sent out, massive numbers of demons. Unfortunately, as much as this is a good push, it's not in the best place. This area here was yet to come online in a big way. A lot of the other corners much stronger. So this is one of those coin flips that is King of the Hill. You're not actually sure what's happening here, and because the pressure here was sort of middling, you would expect that there would be over-ecoing and potentially a massive amount of damage could be done here. But taking out some players that were only mounting light pressure is good for the Kings, because it means that they can't come on later, but it's bad for the Kings because it's not doing something like taking out Team Newt or Team Twig or Team Co-op Cookie in the bottom right-hand side, which is the sort of players that you have to find and you have to seek out, and that's where the scouting information early can make a really big difference. Because the Kings haven't been able to push out in a really big way, it is still somewhat unknown who is where. If you go to the player view, you can see that barely any of the colors have been seen on that bottom half of the map.
Really nicely done out of... Oh, big bang. What happened there?
And that was some Vanguards. Those guys firing up, they found the Aphis and they managed to take it out. This is why shields are so damn important in the high ground. It's also why we removed some of the early T2. This was 18 minutes, so shields should have been very much so expected at this point, but without them, a good snipe by the Vanguards, and now they have a bit of a clear path to head in. Unfortunate that they managed to get the shots on, though, because a few more, just a minute later, and there would have been a Thor pushing them back.
Aurora on the bottom right trying to defend against these demons, has 4 fusions, does not want to lose them, and a commander that has just become visible to degun one of those. We've still got 5 here. These haven't quite seen the fusions yet. Popping down these pit bills is the right move, but the build power going down, I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to stop this. Hopefully we see this T2 lab and snipers coming up, but the build power really needs to shift to this lab rather than to the eco.
An interesting thing here, and this is just to talk about how important your spam line is. The spam line is currently going in the wrong direction. If it was out here supporting these T3 units, I think this push would actually potentially take on most of the map, but it's getting cleaned up instead of supporting the units it needs to support. So while these are a big threat, they can be taken out, and they will take some damage from doing things like killing Aphis. They're definitely going to have to run into some trouble against comms. We'll see how far they get, but I reckon that if you can match your spam with your T3 units a little better, you'll see better results. Though I might be eating my words. Let's be honest, I was concentrating on defense in this game, so I don't know how far they get around.
Mhm. These are not going to get up in time. We'll come back there later. We have a really strong Kagi push on the left out of Mr. Wizard. What is the response? We've got Tom, Chrono, Virax down the bottom left here. Are they going into units? We've got some termites out of Chrono. He's actually ignoring the Kagis. I really like this. Knows the Kagis are here. And just, you can see the fight commander around this line here. If he comes across this bulwark, ignores it. There's nothing. There's a few of these scorpions here. That's not going to stop. Those 3 scorpions will not stop termites. They got so many hit points.
We might be getting some good D-guns on these demons. First one is about to go down. There we go. Question is, can the commander escape? It doesn't look like it. So these demons are getting further than I would have expected. I'll eat my words just there, but I will say that the spam isn't doing anything. That's a huge metal investment that has not progressed.
It needs to be a reaction out of these players here. Honestly, 6 or 7 snipers could, if correctly spaced, could take these out. 2 shots maybe for 4 of those each, and then there's one with full health in there. These Razorbacks are going to come across them and might not get them all. Yes, it will.
They should do. The demons are very low health. There's only one. If they concentrate the ones that are low health, which it does look like they're doing, they'll be able to take them all out. Razorback and demon combat is actually quite interesting because a single demon will absolutely slaughter a Razorback, but once you start getting them in mass, particularly if you can manipulate where the demons are shooting, the Razorbacks trade quite efficiently.
Getting that fusion reactor nicely done. How are we going with those termites? They're still coming in. We got these recluse over here. Bit of pressure going back on the left, and they're going to be coming across these twitches. A nice clean up, stopping that metal reclaim. You could just, even though there's not a lot of damage coming out of these, so much health. Each one of these having about 3,200 health. I'm just going to check back up top here. How's this going? You're doing well just having that. You haven't been breached.
It's not going well. Build power's been reset twice at this point. It's just come back online, and I don't know how, and I don't think it's going to last much longer. This was a try to hold the bleeding and hope that the rest of the map can clean it up. But with these Razorbacks holding the spam line, with the demons dead, and with the Kagis dead, the King's massive offensive has fallen slightly short of taking out the 2 biggest threats in the bottom corner, as well as actually the 3 biggest threats. The Tank Tom and Chronographer corner up to 15 fusions. I'm surprised they're not going into APHIS yet.
Yeah, you're actually better throwing all of this ego to the one player, having that one player just build T3 and then sharing the units. Kind of what you're doing. Jaleo is receiving your, what are they called, the catapults at the moment, and being able to micro them to 100% efficiency, attacking individual units because he's not having to worry about macro at all. It's looking quite good for your team at the moment. You can see about half the peasants are taken out.
You say that, but...
Oh.
What did that?
I kind of want to go back and check that.
We're going to go back. We're going to insert a little clip because of what did that. Because I don't know what did that from game. Nobody knew what did that from game. We saw the aftermath of the base. Now let's see the attack. Very risky positioning with those APHIS right on the corner. And Chronographer has found him. The termites over the wall. 3 shots, 4 shots, handful of shots. And that's the base gone. Very nicely done. Really well identified. The camera's making a big difference just there. This is why we don't build defenses so close to the outside of the map. We've got lovely build areas right up close to the inner cliffs. Build those. If units get there, the game's already over. Alright, snapping back to the rest of the action. We've got a last-ditch push out of the Kings ready to go. and that is all of the Karganeths in the top top left hand side. That's going to be one of the last hopes for the Kings right now. We do have that spam being cleaned up on the right hand side. One last demon push. All 3 wings have been destroyed, and it is just the center ecos and the main bastions holding on. How will we run? Also, Twig, did a lot of your colors just change because of doing that instant replay?
Yeah, possibly. These things happen. So I'm now a nice, what do you call that? A light pink. We've got nothing really to stop these Kargis here. Absolutely nothing. Thank God Vanguards don't run on power.
Right, this will be a big problem for the Kings, and they could actually take out some of these super corners, but we do have Carney trying their best to destroy them before they get there, but the Kargi is slightly faster than the comms. Question is, how badly will they be cleaned up? They're going for these corners, but they are not the biggest threats at the moment. They really need to keep nice and spread so the comms only take 1 or 2 of them at a time and get into the super eco wings before they react. We can see Twig's units pulling back potentially to deal with this, and hopefully we'll see some other units coming out from these players. The Kargi's coming in though, and they're grouping up. Grouping up is not what I want to be seeing just now. Oh.
Good D-guns. Getting quite a few of those. We're only down to 12 now, so that's not going to be enough to punch the whole way through this corner like it might have been at the start.
Some damage, but
I am not loving this. This is my little classic corner where he's feeding
you're
the
fine.
units.
You've got your Vanguards. You don't care.
I mean, I don't care, but he's going to have nothing to do shortly. But there is just nothing to stop this.
You just can't let your units group that much, because this could have potentially been enough Kargis to win the game, but unfortunately being whittled down to less than 25% of what they were is not going to be a good time.
Yeah, Beamer's doing a little bit of work. The healing that these turrets are doing on here, I mean,
make sure you take out that build power, because it just keeps those pop-ups alive for so long. Twig trying to get a D-gun in there, but gets picked off.
No energy to walk at the same time, so I should have just kept my commander dead still there, and that's going to be a little bit of a loss for the petants, which the Kings really needed. That actually takes the medal back almost to even with that corner going
what
down.
medal are you looking at? It's 3,000 for the peasants to so it's 2,000 to the peasants to 1,000 for the Kings.
Why is that saying at 100? Oh, 100% better. Wow.
Yes, 100% better. And unfortunately, that's left the Kargis down to a force of 6, which is going to be cleaned up by the handful of snipers, vanguards, and titans that are cleaning this up. And the two most powerful corners, the bottom left and the top right, still alive and kicking. Kings trying to get themselves re-established. We're seeing these wings attempting to be retaken, but the build power just isn't there. The metal production just isn't there. With 1,000 metal, the Kings are just going to be bleeding unless they can find a way to really push back.
At this stage of the game, where's my vanguards? Here we are. Oh, these ones aren't mine. These are one up here. I think I'll just go down, and we've got quite good vision with various raids that happened. What can we see here? Not a lot at the moment. You can see where the bubbles are, so you just got to aim and hope for the best in these spots. And the good thing with bubbles is they don't absorb the plasma shots; they reflect them. So you're pretty much guaranteed to lose anything outside of those. These will splash, and if you actually bring these vanguards close enough, you can land these shots on the top of these bubbles and jump them onto another position there if there's no shields behind, but there are in this case, so they would not get through if they went over the back there. And we do see the T3 lab go down just by the repeated shots from all these vanguards in the corner here.
That's just mostly the recluse. Twig, you're not that good.
These aren't most of these are actually IQUs. And we've also got a single catapult here firing up and over.
And unfortunately, despite my best efforts and despite Jalio's best efforts, this corner has just been bleeding non-stop this game. We just never managed to get the eco high enough to really push out and take the area around us. The attacks absolutely brutal on this side, and with the other sides struggling, I reckon that this top section is going to be the breaking point. We have so many vanguards getting ready to walk over the cliffs, and with the pressure being put only on the bottom side at the moment, it is going to be a very, very rough fight.
Unfortunately, no cameras up here on the hill to see this commander walking over in range of degunning some of our units right here. I'll just go back to this player view. Oh, we can actually see that commander. Yeah, so just popping its head over here. I managed to pull mine back. I think we might have seen our kill you lose one. We've got spiders coming over now though, so manually firing, trying to hit this commander, and it has stopped perfectly right where I've put my shots down and hitting that on the head. I do remember getting that commander kill.
I think it would have had a bad time regardless of how you spun it. The spiders were right there to take it out.
Yeah.
Desperately trying to get some spam up to defend. Unfortunately, some shots onto exposed conversion over there, taking my build power out. That is the 5th time this game that my build power was destroyed.
One final catapult left up there, and it's not looking great for you. South is holding quite well here with the constant spam and this one juggernaut really keeping all this stuff back. Oh, we have a Kagi push. Clumped up though, Enigoth Baddie is going to potentially take all of those out. Yes, that is.
But not before the Aphist goes. Oh dear.
There was one point in time there, one D-gun possibly could have sliced them all up. It lined up perfectly. We need to see this last commander walk through, but we will probably see that go down to the Persecutor. Big spider push now coming over here, and these vanguards just continuously shooting up, trying to push holes through this shield that's down to 25% health. There is another one behind it though, but it will be the spiders that get through and take out that Aphis that is keeping your spam going.
And while that's been going on, all of the firepower from these catapults has been taking out orange player Mariner Pete, to the point where this is now this is the first of the open entrances. Unfortunately, there just isn't enough eco left on the King's side to really close this one up, dropping below 1,000 metal with the peasants pushing it just over that 3,000 now. This is going to be the end, right, as the top wing falls to the Karganeths and the Recluses. It's been a really hard one for the Kings, some really good pushes, but they unfortunately just didn't quite hit the spots that were causing the most damage, so the peasants were able to effectively get their damage onto the Kings.
There were just too many really heavy assaults coming at you guys. Like, that's a good 6 massive ecos out of the peasants. What we had one up here. There goes the main eco. Don't want to miss that one. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 never come online down the bottom right, but this one here was massive. 5, 6, yeah, 6 really big eco spots that saw very strong T2 or T3 units coming out constantly throughout the game at you guys. So a lot of places to defend, and very hard to find those spots to punch through as a king. There goes the jug.
So yeah, as a king, if you want to avoid this sort of thing from happening, be prepared for the big pushes. They do come. Pop-up turrets are your best friend, along with the beamers, for defending in these wings. If you're building in the wings, make sure you bring those resources close to the middle so they can't be hit by vanguards without them getting super close down. The other important one is to control this middle ground. Very well played out of the peasants. I just want to give a massive shout out to Team Newt for heading themselves up onto the top side with just so many spiders at the 10-minute mark. That is an impressive build and a very well spent eco. Then applying the pressure constantly, so there was no recovery. Targeting that build power and giving vision for those vanguards made a huge difference, and it meant the Kings were almost constantly playing with 2 players down. So nice work there, and that is a very good lesson for how to play as the peasants, and some lessons needing to be learnt for the Kings. Good effort by all. Thanks everyone for joining us. Twig's just having a quick look at those graphs right now, and then we'll catch you next time.
Quite the typical graphs out of this game. Constant damage dealt out of all the Kings. But there you can see the couple peasants there that really made a big difference throughout the game. managed to put that pressure in a few different locations, and you just see the catch up of the eco. You add this number of peasants together, and the eco is somewhere up there if you add them all together. So the peasants just a long way ahead. Obviously, the one massive eco in the centre there, heading the lot for the kings, but just not quite enough to keep ahead. And that's King of the Hill. We'll see you next time.
Catch you guys.